Prusa has launched a test version of his online slicer. What is Slicer currently capable of, and is there anything to look forward to? Slicer is currently only available to a small number of Printables users. No one has any influence on the content of this video, no one is paying me for it, and I'm not imposing myself on anyone. If you like my work, please subscribe here on YouTube or on my social media and share my videos. Let's take a look at what the slicer itself looks like and what it can do. There are several ways to access the slicer. One way is by using this button next to Prusa meter. The other way is from the detail of any model on the printables page. For the file we want to print, just click on the EasyPrint button. Now, if I click on the Continue button, it will take me directly to the slicer. But as you can see, this model has many files and printing them one at a time would not be very pleasant. That's why there is an option to add the files we want to print to the print list. This list is kept at the bottom of the page. It is stored in the browser's memory and can survive a page reload. Files from other projects can also be added to it. Simply open another project and click again in the files to add files to the print list. The moment we are satisfied, we just click on the Continue button. This will take us to the slicer interface. A list of all models in the project can be found under this button. Through this list, you can clone, delete and add files in the project and have them automatically arranged. The same can be done using the buttons on the side of the build plate. In addition, there is an option to delete all models from the build plate. Of course, there is the possibility to go back in the history of changes. The last button is used to preview the print. In the preview, you can see the expected print time, weight and length of the filament usage, and you also have the possibility to look at the individual layers. The preview can also be accessed via this button in the top menu bar. If you want to split the print across multiple build plates, just move the model outside the build plate. You can add a model to your project from models published on printables or from your device. However, there are a few limitations. The slicer can only open files of type STL, OBJ or 3MF. You can't open step files in the web version of the slicer, for example. You can also upload files from your computer using this button. While 3MF files are supported, only models will be loaded from them. All print settings are ignored. You can perform basic operations such as changing the X and Y position of the models. They can also be rotated in the X, Y and Z axis or resized. The size can only be changed while maintaining the proportions, so the object cannot be deformed. Any changes can be reverted to the original state. The object can be cloned and can be placed on the side of our choice. We still haven't said anything about printer settings and print parameters. All the printers you have in your Prusa Connect account will appear in this list. If your Prusa printer is not in Prusa Connect, you can use the option to add an offline printer. The difference between online and offline printer is that you can directly send a job to the online printer for printing. With offline printers, you can download a ready-to-print job as a G-code that needs to be manually uploaded to the printer. For offline printers, the nozzle can be changed to any of the supported sizes. For online printers, this setting needs to be changed directly in the printer. You can also set the filament you want to print from. There are not many options here. I like that you can see which type of material is currently loaded in the printer. After clicking on the desired material, the manufacturer and material variant can be specified. Also, the color of the material can be set. In the case of Prusament, you have the option to choose the color by filament name. For the print parameters, the choices are equally poor. You can choose any of the preset profiles, but you cannot change the parameters of these profiles. These profiles are identical to the ones you can find in Prusa Slicer. So you can check the default settings of these profiles. In the online slicer, for these profiles you can change only the support and infill parameters. The supports can be turned on or off. For enabled supports, you can choose between two styles of supports with the option to choose whether the support should be everywhere or only on the build plate. For the infill, you can set the infill density and infill pattern. I give them a teeny pointless plus for trying to show what the infill density looks like for the selected pattern. And that's basically all the adjustments that can be made. You can't adjust the number of perimeters, you can't turn on waste mode, you can't do a filament change on a particular layer. One more thing I could point out. If you have a printer with a multicolor printing unit, the slicer will give you the option of setting individual filaments. Plus, you get the option to assign the filament to each model separately. If you set to print 2 or more filaments, a wipe tower will appear on the build plate. The more filaments you use on a single layer, the larger this tower will be. The tower cannot be manipulated and you cannot change the amount of material that will be pushed out of the nozzle during the filament change. All changes are currently saved only in the browser. So if you open EasyPrint on another computer or in another browser, all work will be lost. Which is a shame, because the slicer allows you to have multiple projects saved that you can switch between. If I delete a project, it just moves to the recycle bin and stays there for up to 30 days. If you decide you want to transfer the project to another device, the only option is to download the project and then upload it to the target device. While EasyPrint does support 3MF files, it will only load models from them. So by transferring the project, you lose all your print settings. If you open the project in a Prusa slicer, all settings will load just fine. Once you decide that you are happy with the layout of the models on the build plate and with the print parameters, you can submit the print job to the online printer. All communication with the printer is done in the background using Prusa Connect. I have good news for Prusa mobile app users. The slicer is also available for you. For example, if you decide you want to print something while sitting on the toilet or laying on the bed, you are no longer limited by anything. The mobile version of EasyPrint can be found under the Printables tab in the Prusa mobile app. All you have to do is find the model on the Printables website and let the EasyPrint app open it. Of course, you can again use the print list and add multiple models to it at once. Once you open EasyPrint, you will find that you have practically the same options as in the web version. You can move the model around, resize it, rotate it, copy it, and so on. The only limitation is that you can't switch between projects. You only have one project, and if you leave it, you lose all work you have done. Even just a simple check on the status of your printer and you can start over. In addition to printing from printables, you can also print your own model from your device. For example, if you use Onshape, you can download a model you have created and open it in the mobile version of EasyPrint. EasyPrint itself is hidden in the top right menu. Once you open EasyPrint, just click on the button to add a model and then the button to upload the model. So, as you can see, it's no problem to set up your print according to your own preferences and send the print job straight to the printer from your mobile device. It is currently a test run, and with that comes many limitations and bugs. The limitations include, for example, the possibility of slicing only one task per user. So it doesn't matter if you open the slicer in multiple windows. You can only slice one task at a time and the others are waiting in the queue. Another limitation is the amount and size of files. If you put an overcomplicated model on the build plate, the slicer either won't work or won't let you slice the project. Many times I have had the slicer not want to load at all. I have also had several times where the entire page reloaded and opened a blank project. In the bottom left corner you can see a list of keyboard shortcuts that can be used in the online slicer. Some of the shortcuts may conflict with shortcuts used by your operating system. In my case, for example, the shortcut to add a file opens the email client. Of course, standard shortcuts like copy, paste or undo last change work just fine. The same goes for shortcuts that don't use special keys. Otherwise, there is not much to complain about so far, and most of the bugs are fairly easy to ignore. No one else currently offers such a good online slicer, and thanks to it, Prusa gains something that the competition does not have. So far. I like the idea of an online slicer, and Joseph gets a small pointless plus from me for it. What do you think about the slicer? Let me know in the comments below the video.